Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome back to Take on the World with your favorite Johnny JJ Rainbow, and Mike D in the house.
Mike Little D.
Little D, Big D. I take them all.
Missing D. Haven't found it in 6 years, D.
Anyway, thanks for making it gay right off the bat, my friend.
You are welcome.
So we are millennialists once again. I'm beginning to think that millennials don't like us.
And Love Bug. Maybe he'll make a guest appearance next time.
He did show some interest in coming back.
That's because we're the fucking best.
Well, we have a good time. We try. That last one was kind of a downer, so we wanted to do something a little bit different.
Yeah,
a little bit upbeat, a little bit funny.
I would not mind doing more wrestling shit. I didn't touch on this the last time. I wanted to tell you guys because I couldn't remember his fucking name, and then we started talking about other shit. But I love that part where Jerry Lawler slapped the shit out of fucking Andy Kaufman live on TV.
Oh, yeah. I still
it was because he said he was antagonizing me about it. And he said it was fake, and he fucking. I'll show you how fake it is.
Well, there was actually Dr. D. What was it? Something Williams. He got sued for punching someone out for saying wrestling was fake.
Yeah.
Dr. Death. So I never told my Night Stalker story, did I? My wrestling stalker story.
No, I thought you were saving that for.
No, he don't have to be here.
I think he should be.
Okay.
I think you owe him that.
Because I'll tell you what, because he was part of the beginning of the story.
Yeah. You wait till he gets here.
Okay.
I think he'd be disappointed if he didn't.
Yeah, he'll enjoy it because he was there for all of it.
Well, because I told him about it, and he's like, "Ah, dude!" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, so he's gotta have some input that I want to hear.
Yeah.
So maybe you're too scared to leave in.
No, there's nothing I'm leaving out.
You banged it, didn't you?
No, hell no. No.
All right.
I'm quite married.
But this was like, how long ago?
I've been married for 30 years.
Oh.
So.
What do we got on the agenda for today,
Well,
Michael?
what we're going to do is, like I said, something a little light.
A little lighthearted.
A little funny. Sex sent me to the ER. I was flipping through YouTube, and I see this video come up, and it's a TLC show.
Yeah, that's been on for a while.
Sex sent me to the ER. And I watched it, and I'm just laughing my ass off. Like, number one, that people would do some of this shit. Number two,
that you would go on a fucking show
yes.
and tell your fucking stupid story for our entertainment.
So, the first one I watched, this guy and this chick had been dating for a while, and they wanted to spice things up. And he bought her hold on. Did she come out? However, she ended up with a remote control vibrator.
I think this is one of the ones I saw.
So she puts his remote control vibrator in, and he's got a controller, and he can zap her. So they decided they're going to go to the
Hold on, wait. She's like, "What's that vibrating sound? Is that coming from your pants?" That's for me to know and you to find out.
So they decided to go to the supermarket.
Yep.
So he's zapping her every time they go down an aisle. And so he went off to look for something. He comes back. She's at the vegetables. And she's squeezing a melon or eating a fucking banana, whatever the hell she was doing. And he
I think she was looking through apples.
He zaps her. And she's like, "Whoa!" Falls down, hits her head really hard. So she's got pain. There's a lump. We go, "Oh, we better take you to the hospital." So they go to the hospital. They get into the ER. They're standing there, and the button on the remote control sticks in the down position. And she's sitting there
convulsing. Then it shows an older doctor come in. She's like, "What is going on in here? What is that sound?" Yeah. You better tell me right away. You're in trouble.
So they come out and they tell the doctor what was going on. They get the thing turned off. She gets an MRI. She's fine. But this show is about scenarios such as that sent people to the ER.
I think it turns out she had a mild concussion.
Yeah.
And also the doctor's like, we're going to give you an MRI, ma'am. And I suggest anything foreign inside you. It's not there when you get it done. Capiche?
And then when they leave, he's like, now let's keep that shenanigans to the bedroom.
Yeah. Like that, they'll probably right at it again the next day.
If somebody says shenanigans one more time.
Yeah. See, the first one, and I think I've seen this in the past. It's been on for forever. But the first one I saw was this girl comes flying into the ER. She's like, oh my God. She's holding her crotch. It burns. It won't burn. I'm dying.
I read this one.
So they take her in, and she's being like real deceptive on the question she's being asked. Like, what burns? What's going on? Yeah, and I guess the husband comes in like 10 minutes later, and he's like, this was all her idea, and, you know, it wasn't mine. And they're like, what the hell's going on? They're trying to figure this thing out, and they're like, what are you telling us? What happened? So I guess finally it turns out that they bought a couple bags of Pop Rocks. And the video shows, you know, it's reenacting. It's the worst fucking reenacting. The doctor was, he was fucking horrible. And he like dumps all these Pop Rocks in his mouth. And he's like, you ready, baby? You ready? She's like, yeah, you ready? Yeah, you ready? You sure you're ready? And then she goes down on him, or he goes down on her, and then all of a sudden she's like in excruciating pain. And I guess they given her a full exam, and he's like, I didn't find anything in there. You're fine. There's no infection. And she tells him, yeah, just about an hour ago I had a like bag full of Pop Rocks shoved in my cooch. And he's like, well, no long-term damage. I guess they just all dissolved in there, and you had some kind of mild reaction to it. That's, you know, I mean, who would have thought that you'd have a mild reaction to it? But I can see how that might be fun.
Here's another one.
I've heard of dudes getting blown with fucking Pop Rocks.
I heard that too.
I think I might actually. I don't know.
And Halls.
Yep, Halls.
So this is jumping down my list a little bit since you brought up. There was two that came up that were similar to that, food related. This dude and this chick, it was going to be their first time, and he heard that watermelon's an aphrodisiac. I don't know if it's true, but supposedly watermelon's an aphrodisiac. So he chows down on some watermelon. He's like, yeah, I can feel the mojo going. And he goes, you know, it'd be better than that if I rub watermelon on my junk. So he rubs watermelon all over his junk. He starts bumping nasties with his girl. She's allergic to watermelon.
What? How can you be allergic to watermelon?
And she breaks it, like she starts getting like a fever and hives and breaking out, and they had to rush her to the hospital.
Jesus Christ.
And they found out that it was because of the topical.
Yeah, fucked her to death with a watermelon.
It would. And then the other one was this couple ordered in because they wanted to have a romantic night. They ordered in, they had hot wings.
Oh boy.
Eating up some hot wings.
This string fits right nice up there.
No, they didn't do that, but it was like his last bite of hot wing, he decided, hey, that would be a good time to go down on her. So they get busy, and same thing, fire down below.
Now that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because I had a similar experience with something like that. I remember the guy I worked with, he used to grow hot peppers. You try this hot pepper, cut slices of it up. So I fucking ate it. And he's like, by the way, don't rub your eye with the same. That's how it's like rubbing my eye. Ugh. Don't rub your eye with the same fingers you touch the pepper with. And I'm like, what? Then immediately it was just like I think it was a habanero. Excruciating pain. So after like 20 minutes of dunking like milk in my fucking eye, rinsing it out, I finally like came down with eyes all red and shit. And then I'm like, oh god, what a fucking experience. I got piss.
Let's not do that again.
I was like, I gotta fucking piss.
Oh no!
I fucking pissed, right? And then it's like another hour of my fucking cock and balls on fire. It was excruciating.
Wash your hands?
Nah, well, I mean, I'm like rinsing my eyes out. I thought the shit wasn't there anymore, you know. But that oil.
Well, you've been sprayed at work, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that fucked me up. I don't know what they use, but I swear to Christ, I just remember what they did. Like, don't blink. You blink, you're fucking out. And it was that fucking bear spray shit, like the pounder. And I was the first one to get hit in the line. And I just remember I intentionally kept my eyes open like that. And I just saw the fucking stream, and it was like, oh, and it felt like my eyes just got knocked in the back of my fucking skull. And it was so weird because I guess there's this thing called needling. I never heard of it, but somebody told me about it. And you can fuck your eyeballs up. Just get if it's like the velocity of the spray. Yeah. But it was like 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, like I didn't go blind, but everything my vision was blurry. And I'm like, what the? It didn't hurt, nothing, but it was like blurry. Like I don't know if you can you sit here and make your eyes go blurry so everything around you is blurry? Yeah. So it's like if you can do that, imagine that. Like yeah. And it was like that for all day long. And I'm like, shit. I was starting to get kind of scared. And then the next day it went away. And it came back like 3 more times within like 2 weeks after that. And then it was never a problem after
that. When I got sprayed, I was just getting sprayed to be able to carry. Mm. And they put us in the trailer. Yeah. And another officer went in the trailer with me, and they had fogged the trailer, then they sprayed your eyes. Yeah. So they shot you across the forehead, it dripped down. And then they asked you, like, you had to answer, like, 3 questions. Yep. So when I went in, it was like, what year were you hired? Yep. And I'm like,
what's your last name?
It burns, but I can think through that. Like, it's not a huge deal. What's your name? The last 4 of your social, and what year were you hired? The other guy who went in with me, now my face is on fire. I'm burning. The other guy who went in with me,
nothing.
He couldn't remember anything. I don't remember.
Just fucking say something.
That's what I said to him. I'm like, dude, they don't know when you were hired. Just say a number. Say 2025. I don't care. I don't want to be in here till 2025 when I retire. So we finally get out, and we're out there, and there was a bunch of new guys that had just come through the academy, and they're out there, and they got. It's my dog barking. They're out there. The one dude's puking. The other dude's got snot running down. And the lieutenant was coming by with a camera. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Yes. And so all these guys are puking and snotting. And I had to be an asshole. I'm like, can I go again?
Idiot. Actually, the trailer wasn't that bad. When I went in, I did make an ass out of myself because they recorded it. And then they played it back to us in the academy. And I'm sitting there, right? And I don't know, it was like 23, something like that. I was standing there looking there, and I'm like, eyes are like closed, coughing and shit. And the lieutenant says to me, he's like, turn around. And I was like, what? He's like, turn around. I was like, what? He's like, I said, turn around. So I was like, okay. So I literally turned around and I faced the wall. He's like, not halfway, you idiot, all the way. So like I turned around again, and it's like he's fucking. They played it back, and oh my god, everybody was laughing at me. It was a fucking laughing stock in the whole academy. Yeah, but it was all in good fun.
But it's like you're not used to that.
Yeah, it's like little commands like that'll fuck you up, you know. Yeah. So that's why they always say.
Now I had been sprayed before, so like.
Well, that was the first time I ever had any experience with that.
I've been sprayed. I've been tased.
I'm terrified to be tased.
You haven't been tased?
No, I don't want to either. Yeah. I don't want to shit myself. Yeah. And then I want to lock up because I got back issues, so I don't want to lock up and like fucking pull a muscle. That's what I'm terrified of.
You're afraid that if you get tased, that pit in your hip will come flying out.
Then I won't be able to join the Marine Corps. God damn it! Can't wear gold jewelry.
Can't wear gold. Can't join the Marine Corps.
But yeah, definitely the pounder in the face, that sucked ass.
And normally you take things to the face pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a money shot champion. But I would say that was probably the closest to being on fire as I can fucking imagine. And
it's painful.
To make it worse, they trick you and they were like, here's some water to rinse off with, and that just fucking makes it worse. because then you dunk, you're spraying yourself with the hose, it's just running down.
Well, I do remember that night when I came home, I took a shower, and I went through it all over again.
I don't know. Is this shit? Can we air this? We have to delete all this out.
What?
I don't know.
Anybody who's ever been sprayed can do this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not deleting shit.
But,
one take, bro. One take.
One take. That's all it takes.
So, back to our topic at hand.
How the fuck did we get on that? The hot sauce and eating somebody out with hot sauce.
The point was, I got in the shower and I had to relive it all over again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which we just got to.
Yeah. I shit you not, Michael. I bought specific clothes to go through my training. And this was after the academy. And I was like, well, I know they're going to get ruined because we're going to be doing a lot of physical activity, a lot of spray and whatnot. Just throw them the fuck out. Because you usually just stains your clothes anyways. And I swear to God, for whatever reason, I kept a pair of they were like exercise boxers, not boxer briefs. And so they're like moisture wicking and shit. And I hung on to them. I was like, oh, I'll just work out in these. So it would have been like probably, I shit you not, like 4 months after that. And they were just folded up in my closet. I go to put these on and go to work out. And I'm like, I'm sitting in my car, like on the way home. I'm like, God damn, fucking ass is burning.
You know you're supposed to wash your clothes, right?
They were washed multiple times. And I was like, fucking, and it was just like a slight like tinge, like somebody turned the heat on or something. It was like,
I didn't know I had heated seats.
My balls are heating up. I'm like, holy shit, like that stuff lingers, man. I don't know what the fuck they use. And of course, every time you talk to somebody else, oh, they got something stronger now. Strong now. That stuff you had was weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, now it's more regulated. So, back to this. There was a couple in Queens who played in a band together, and they were hanging out with their bandmates. They were drinking, and I guess slowly their bandmates left, and they thought, hey, let's get a little frisky. So they figured behind the drum set on the drum stool would be a good place to get frisky, because if someone walked in, they could hide behind the drums. It makes no sense to me, but anyway. So they do the Humpy Bumpy. They turn themselves around, and they lay down on a couch that's there, apparently naked. So whether they're going to hide behind there, I don't know. So the dude ends up on a gurney at 3 a.m. because he rolled off the couch, whacks his chin on the end table, cuts his chin open, pops up and is holding his chin, so his junk's right in his girl's face. And she's like, oh my God! One of his testicles is like that big. They go to the hospital, and well, actually, it gets worse. He was wearing skinny jeans, so he obviously couldn't fit in the skinny jeans with his big testicle.
You know that pressure on your nut.
So he had to put on her skirt. So he goes to the hospital in a floral print skirt, his chin busted open, and a testicle the size of an orange. So they get to the hospital. The doctor stitches him up, and the doctor's asking, well, what were you doing that your testicle's so big, and why are you wearing a dress? So they finally tell him what happened, and basically, it's something called orchitis.
Okay.
So from sitting on a drum stool that was not cushioned.
But he squashed his nuts?
Squashed his nuts.
He didn't feel that through the whole thing?
Well, when you're into it, you're into it.
She's probably just bouncing up and down.
So needless to say, they never messed
Titties
around.
In his face, she never heard a thing. Yeah. So he squashed his own fucking nuts on a drum.
And it swelled up.
Oh, I can feel that pain, man.
And I guess they put him on an antibiotic, and he was told he couldn't have like sex for like a month or something.
Yeah. The other one I watched was it was actually pretty funny. The acting wasn't it was cheesy enough, but it was pretty funny. And so it starts off. It's this guy. He's at a football game, and he's fucking painted blue.
I saw this.
And then the girl next to him is on the opposite team. She's painted red. They're talking shit to each other. And
it's tech versus state.
Yeah, tech versus state. Then all of a sudden they start fucking making out because she's attractive.
That's what you do. That's what you do when you start arguing with someone.
Right. So then they go over to underneath the bleachers and they start fucking. And I guess his money's shot. He's like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "My cum's blue." And she's like, "Ew, you need to go to the hospital." So they go to the hospital.
Now they just met.
They just met. Yeah.
They go to the hospital
together, and I guess they're both in a fraternity.
Yeah.
And so the doctor's like, "Okay." He's like,
"That could be an STD."
He goes like, "What's going on?" He's like, "It's blue when it comes out." He's like, "When what comes out?" He's like, "You shit, you piss." Like, what is it? He's like, "No, when I ejaculate." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "Well, that could be an STD."
And she starts flipping out.
"You son of a bitch, you gave me an STD.
You didn't tell me you had an STD.
And I guess the whole fucking fraternity on both sides starts coming in, and they're causing a ruckus. Doctor kicks him out, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna need to get a sample." So he's like, "All right." So he jerks off into this cup, hands it to him. The doctor's like, "No, you meant a urine sample." And he's like, "But that sure is blue." Maybe he's like, "Yeah, I wonder if I dry that out, chop it up, and snort it.
What if I get gonorrhea from that?"
And so he goes, "Well, now we're gonna have to give you a catheter and swab the inside of your dick." And he's like, "Is it gonna hurt?" And he's like, "Well, it's not gonna be long.
It won't last long."
Yeah, it won't last long." So he swabs his fucking dick. No STDs. She's happy as shit. He's happy. And he's like, "Well," he's like, "the only other thing it could be is maybe an infection or something." He's like, and like I think he mentioned like the rectal area or something. He's like, "Have you had any trauma lately?" No, first he's like, "We're gonna have to give you a prostate exam." He's like, "What's that?" He's like, "Well, I gotta stick my finger in your ass and feel around,
root around,
root your ass." So
John says, "Okay, let's go."
I'm already there. I'm like, "Can my finger fit too? Is there room for two, Doc?" And so right away in the video, it shows the people waiting in the waiting room, and all you hear is just screaming in the background. And the doctor's like, "Well, immediately I know if there's pain associated with a rectal exam, there's some kind of infection." And he's like, "Have you had any trauma lately?" And he's like, Well, yeah. And he's like, "But I can't tell the ladies, so you're gonna have to leave." So I guess it was like some kind of fraternity fucking
secret,
yeah. So I guess from whatever initiation he was going through, they were smacking him in the ass with a plastic wiffle ball bat, and they missed and fucking sacked him in his fucking nuts, and like blew him up, and he got an infection in his asshole, and that type of infection will turn your piss and your jizz blue. And I think all they gave him was an antibiotic.
They told him he couldn't have sex for like 3 months or something.
Oh, I'd be fucking shooting Smurf jizz all over the place.
No, they said he couldn't even do it to himself.
I know they said that, but why?
Because that's the rule.
Let Papa Smurf's in town, baby. Woo! You want to see a magic trick?
I saw another one. It's not on my list, but the dramatization on this.
I think that's like half the fun of it.
Is ridiculous.
It is. But it's like the worst. It's like if you pop me and Michael on a TV show and you're like, "Okay, act."
"Hi, how are you today?"
Yeah. What is all this commotion here?
"I am really distressed by this." So
gonna have to swab your penis. That'd be the only like real part.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that. I really did believe that was good.
So a husband and wife go into the ER, and he is in physical discomfort, and like they don't want to tell the doctor. Their son is calling them from college, and they don't want to tell the son what's going on. So they're in there, and he goes, "Well, we're going to do an X-ray," and they couldn't figure out what was in him. But I
love how like most of the time they won't tell.
There was a foreign body, but what had happened was
I shoved a fucking hot dog in my ass and it broke off.
It was a vibrator. And it got lost in his rectum. And it moved its way up to his intestine.
Oh!
And it was still running.
Attach something to it?
It was still running.
Oh, could you imagine? That might make you feel like you have to take the biggest shit ever.
So he's sitting there the whole time going, oh. And she's like, I gotta tell him. Don't say nothing.
Oh, yeah. I'll just die in silence.
Yeah. And then their son shows up, and the doctor starts explaining what's stuck in him. And the son's like, I don't want to know. I'm leaving. I shouldn't have come. Bye.
Too much information.
So yeah, he had an operating vibrator so far up his ass, it went to his intestines.
That's fucking nasty.
They ended up having to do surgery to get it out.
Oh. What the one the funniest one I saw was it was this fucking this lady trucker, and now on the reenactment the couple looked
Tell him large Marge sent you.
on the reenactment the couple looked, the chick was pretty hot, and then they flash over to the real couple. I guess they were still together to this day, and she looked like a rough trucker. And I guess she must have had a freaking, it didn't show up, but she had to have had a tongue ring. But she's like, I was so worried about my boyfriend. Just like that, something stuck in her mouth. And so their plan was he hit the road with her for like a week, and they were going to fuck at every like truck stop. And every time they stopped, they were going to fuck.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. The first one, when they were filling up.
So the first one,
some guy was talking to him.
Some guy wouldn't shut up. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, when you get the fuck on the first one, this guy was like, now how the weather down there, the gas pretty expensive, blah, 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 blah. And then, so the second one, they stopped, and they just basically hopped right into the back seat. And they started fucking, and then all of a sudden, they reenacted, the guy's like, my penis!
My penis!
My penis! Then he looks down, he's like, it was just leaking blood, it wouldn't stop. And he's like, no man wants to see blood leaking out of their penis. And she's like, I had to run to the hospital, and you Google the name to the hospital.
They drove the
45 minutes away. And I said his dick's gonna fall off by the time I get there. And so they take him to the hospital, and basically, I guess she must have been riding him and snapped his dick in twine. Right? Old Jimmy was like hanging to the right.
So I found out from that episode, there's 3 different ways you could break your penis.
Yes, they do what they did with the pencil. He's like, he stabs the pencil into the thing, and the thing breaks off. You could damage your urethra. He's like, or there's a tube on each side of your penis that carries the blood, and you could snap one in half. And he grabs 2 pens, and he like snaps both in half. He's like, we can do both.
And the guy's like sitting there like, oh.
So he's like, they did an MRI, and they're like, you tore the tube on the right side of your dick. It carries the blood vessels that makes your dick hard.
And they said, we can fix it.
Yeah, we can fix it and do surgery.
We got to the other side.
But we got to cut the other side to make it even.
We got to break your dick again.
Or else your dick's going to look like a fucking banana. And he's like, well, what if we just let it heal on its own? Like, you're going to have, like, you won't be able to get hard anymore, and your dick's going to look like a banana when it does. And he's like, all right. Well, I thought it was funny, so the doctor's like, all right, champ, just cheer in there. And he, like, hits him, and he hits his butt. He's like, oh, my nuts!
But the worst part was he woke up, and his penis was an inch shorter.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we fixed it, but it's going to be a little shorter. And both of them just go, shorter? No man wants to hear your manhood shorter. So, yeah, that had to have been fucking painful. And, yeah, she snapped the dude's dick in 2, and he's still with her. So I must have good sex, I don't know.
I saw another one where it was like a 440-pound dude, that he was a virgin.
Oh.
And the chick was small compared to him. Like, she was not a big girl in the reenactment. But in real life, the guy afterwards had lost like 300 pounds. So he was sitting next to her. They were no longer dating, but they're still friends, and they can laugh about this.
Yeah.
So he gets in, he goes, this is my first time. And she goes, you'll be fine. Just put it in. So he's banging away on her, and her head is against the top of the bed. And I guess he gave her a good old pound, and her head goes to the bed. She gets knocked unconscious. There's drywall on her. So he stops. So she's like, she starts coming to, and he's like, pulling her, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she says to him, "Why did you stop?"
You fucking whore.
So he goes, "I think you should go to the hospital and get checked." And so they go to the hospital. She maybe a mild concussion, I'm not sure. And they go back and they're looking at it, and she almost hit a stud.
Oh, Jesus,
that would have put her out for sure. But she said to him, "You know, if your dick was a little bigger, you wouldn't have had to push so hard."
Oh.
And they both had a big giggle over it. Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Your penis is too small,
Your
and that's why my head went through the wall.
Did you see the one where it was this couple, and I guess in the show they showed them that they were still together. So I guess sex in the ER must have bonded them as well, or sex sent them to the ER. But they're walking down this nature path, and they're both horny as shit. And the guy's like, "Oh, let's hop over here, this tree here, get it on
the tree."
And she's like, "What? Under the tree?" He's like, "No, in the tree." So these idiots climb up into the tree, and she's laying up against the fucking base of the tree, like 10 feet up. And he's like, "It took me a while to find a comfortable position, but I finally found a comfortable position." We start getting it on, and then, it was all, lovely. And then I guess he leaned back onto a branch and it broke off. This idiot fell out of the fucking tree, lands on his back. Boom! Oh! They rush him to or she takes him to the hospital, and the doctors are like, "Well, what happened?" And he's like, "Oh, I fell out of a tree." And like, "Well, how high up?" And he's like, "About 10 feet." Okay. And they're like, "Well, why are your legs all scraped up?" And he's like, "What?" She's like, "Well, I would think that pants would, protect you from getting scratches all on the inside of your thighs." And
stop asking so many questions, asshole.
Yeah, none of your business. And I guess a girlfriend chimes in, "He wasn't wearing pants." And they're like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh, you guys were fucking in the tree like a bunch of birds."
Tweet, tweet.
Yeah, and I guess he like broke a rib and a fucking leg or something.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
And she's saying in the reenactment, she's like, "Ben," she's like, "I got a big old comfortable bed at home." He's like, "This would be way more memorable." I bet.
It was.
Yeah. You really think all this shit's true? I do. I don't know.
Some of the ones that I did were not from the show. Some of the ones I looked up were from the New York Post and
the one they had. I was like, "Come on!" I'm like, "This has got to be just for this fucking show." It was this girl. She goes to the ER with massive stomach pains, and the husband's like, just playing it off. And she's like, "Well, she doesn't really come to the hospital. She's never seen a doctor before. She's a witch."
Yes, I saw that one. And the mom and the grandmother come in.
Mom and the grandmother come in. It turns out this girl shoved a sweet potato up her vag as a contraceptive.
Turnip.
And no, it was a sweet potato.
Turnip.
They're different. Turnip's like a little carrot.
Put a turnip.
I just watched it. They said sweet potato.
Turnip.
No. And I guess as he was
turnip potato.
I guess he was fucking her and jammed this sweet potato further up her fucking.
But she ended up with a urinary tract infection because of the sugars.
I turned it off before then, but like they come in, the grandmother draws a circle on the floor.
Yeah.
I was just like, this can't be fucking real. And like, how the fuck did they even get into the ER to begin
with? With the family.
I don't believe it. So, I think it was made up for the show.
Could be.
So they yanked this fucking turnip potato out of her snatch and basically scalded her, saying that's not a contraceptive. It wouldn't do anything to prevent
the rutabaga. And the grandmother was saying, "Well, it worked for me." She goes, "You got 8 kids."
Yeah.
So this chick, Heather, she's 28, wanted to give Denver-based firefighter Clayton a sexy surprise for his 30th birthday. So she showed up at the firehouse where he works. What? Oh, he showed up at the firehouse with a box of sexploits. So They were having
Was she
fun.
trying to get fucked by all the guys?
Probably. They were messing around, and she must have put a ball gag in his mouth. And they got stuck. And it was restricting his breathing. So I guess with a ball gag, your mouth can't breathe through your nose.
Mm-hmm.
So they got the other firefighters to try to get it out. They couldn't get it out. So they ended up having to go to the ER. At first they were dying with laughter. After that we were like, oh my God, we've got to get you to the hospital.
Oh, he's dying.
Yeah.
How embarrassing would that be?
Yeah, I know. So they ended up using tongue depressors to get it out of his mouth. It was so awkward. Everyone in the firehouse knows, and they're still not over it. If anything like that happened at the jail, you'd never live it down.
Fuck no.
Never live it down.
Yep. You remember that movie Jawbreaker? Did you ever see that?
Jawbreaker?
Mm-hmm. Marilyn Manson's in it. What the hell's her name? She fucking fell off the face of the earth, was like a fucking alcoholic real bad. Lindsay Lohan, I think she's in it.
I don't know if I saw that.
Anyways, these girls end up kidnapping this chick, and they shove a big fucking jawbreaker in her mouth, duct tape her. They were just trying to play a game on her, but they shoved the jawbreaker in her mouth, taped her mouth shut, threw her in the trunk of the car, and they're just trying to scare her. And when they open up the trunk, she's fucking dead. And we're like, uh-oh. And then, I forget what happened after that. Like, a bunch of bad luck befell on all the people involved with it. And it was a pretty good movie, but Marilyn Manson was in it. He had a sex scene. And, but yeah, I guess that's no joke. Fucking jawbreaker, ball gag, deadly. What else we got here on this fucking list? That's one you were...
I just did that one.
Was that the last one on the list? Yep.
No.
On this list?
Oh, you only have one page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why the other page is different now.
What the fuck was the other one? Was that all of them that I saw in there?
I got one here. It says dislocated knee, and it's the woman telling the story. I was on top, and I think I was trying to be a little too adventurous. I played soccer through school and college, so I already knew that my right knee had been dislocated before. This time I was on top, and I think I was trying to switch from being on my knees to the actual heels of my feet. When I did the switch, it was fine, but then I shifted to the right, and her knee popped out of the socket. Had to go to the hospital to get it reduced.
See, now I always associated these sex sent me to the ER with like something sexual happened to you, and that's why you had to go to the ER. Not like I did something sex wise, like the girl with the vibrator in her panties. And then she just like fucking had an orgasm and fell down and split her head open.
Oh, that was the other one I saw. There was a chick in some kind of medical condition she ended up having, but she was having sex. I think it was with her husband, and she had an orgasm, and they had to get ready to go to work. 20 minutes later, she's still having an orgasm. 4 hours later, she's still having an orgasm.
Is that a bad thing?
I guess after a certain period of time, it could be a little annoying.
I don't know, man. But that's how I want to go.
You think you can walk around all day having a continuously nutting in your pants? So apparently, like these would last for hours for her. And it would happen out of the blue then. Like she'd be walking down the street with her friends, and she went from doctor to doctor to doctor and couldn't figure out what's going on. And they finally figured out she had some sort of medical condition that caused it. I guess eventually fixed it, but how embarrassing.
Stop fucking touching yourself.
She was just walking through a store and had an orgasm. Getting a coffee. Oh!
Coffee's shaking out of her cup.
Near birth experience. Our daughter was due soon, but there were no signs of her being on her way. So my wife Ann and I...
Johnny can't stop fucking yawning here. What's wrong with me?
Well, it's late. It's 6.
Yeah. I better get the blanket and go to bed.
My wife Ann and I thought we'd have a round of lovely sex.
They sound British.
That focused on hitting her G-spot.
A round of lovely sex that focused on hitting her G-spot. Repeatedly. Condensation.
After a few nice orgasms, Ann came so hard that she squirted a lot. We had to go to the ER because they thought the water broke. I was mortified when the nurses, all in their mid-20s, asked Ann what made her think the water broke.
I'm not going to mention this on air.
You just did.
No, I can't because there's a. Yeah. Anyways, I have a story. It's not sex related, but it is. The girl got sent to the ER. I just got to throw this out there because it's weird. But it was when we were kids, and I was talking to somebody about one of my friends about something. He's like, "Well," he's like, "My sister got sent to the ER last night," and I'm like, "Really? What happened?" And like, "Well, we noticed like she had like this for a while. She had like this real like rotten smell coming from her. Like she smelled like rotten." And I was like, "Really?" And like we couldn't figure it out, but you get close to like her face and it'd smell like. So she wouldn't say anything, and then I guess her eye or something up here started getting infected and like bulging out a little bit and like leaking like pus. So they took her to the ER, and here it turned out she took a piece of bologna and shoved it up her fucking nose and didn't tell anybody about it. Was embarrassed or whatever. It got stuck. She couldn't get it out. And then the bologna just sat there for weeks and just rotted and just like fucked her eyeball up. And they ended up, taking it out. It was just like a gooey fucking piece of nasty Oscar Mayer, and then treating it with antibiotics. And I can still remember what the guy looks like, and I don't remember I don't think I remember his sister, but I remember him telling me that story. I'm just like, why would you shove a piece of fucking bologna up your nose? Like what?
I got one for you.
I guess you'd be surprised what kids do.
When I was in the Navy, I was up in my A school, and there was a guy there, and he was a corpsman, and we became friends, and we're joking around, and he's telling me about this chick who came into the ER at the on-base hospital. So, which means it was a dependent's daughter, wife, or someone who was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do they call them? The dependents? There's like an acronym for them.
Dependent.
No, it's something else. Is it all common throughout the Army, Navy, and all them? Because I was watching that. I think it's funny as shit. He's got a YouTube channel. I think it's either it's a cop humor or something cop, and he must be was a drill instructor in the Army, and but he'll be sitting there and he's like, "Can you believe that?" He's like, "The commandant of the Army wants to get away with shark attacks," and he's like, "I can feel my drill instructor senses coming to me," and then he like disappears out of the camera and he pops back up and he's in like full dress.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Starts bitching about shit. But he was talking about how they came out with they found it offensive to call dependents. They have a name that they use for them, like whatever they've been saying for like the past 50 fucking years, and now all of a sudden they deem that's not right. It's not politically correct. So we see Michael's looking it up now. If anybody of you know, let us know.
Take on the world 411 @gmail.com. Military brat.
Who's basically, it's like a military wife. There's a specific name for him. Look up military wife nickname.
Five cringeworthy.
I think that was the article that he read. Yep. Donkey dick, that was one of them.
That's the adapter on a gas can.
Pecker checker. Doctor.
Chicken. Dependa,
yeah, that's what it is.
I never heard that. Never heard that.
So anyhow, I digress. Back to what we were saying.
So this Girl comes into the ER, and she was having sex, and it was extremely painful. So he's a corpsman is basically a nurse.
Right.
So the doctor comes in, and they put her up in stirrups. They're checking her, and apparently, when she was young, she came from a family that didn't like to talk about women's stuff.
Mm.
And she was never told that you were supposed to remove tampons when you're done.
Oh boy.
So now supposedly this chick was relatively heavy, and I for some reason it says like I'm thinking he said she was like 30 years old. So from the time she was like 12 or 13 till she was 30, she was using tampons and not taking them out. And he said that as the corpsman, it was his job. He had to go in and scrape the sidewalls of her vagina and her cervix to get all this shit out. And there was like ooze and pus coming out. He said he goes I had to leave the room to throw up like 3 times.
Oh, could you imagine pulling the plug on that fucking Hoover Dam? Ugh.
Yeah.
That's fucking nasty.
So basically, it was sex sent her to the hospital because she was having painful sex.
Oh. It makes me want to throw up. I don't know. I don't have a story about that, though, by the way.
What's that?
As much as you would probably like to hear that, I don't have a story.
I thought you were going to regale us with a personal experience.
No. Nope.
No?
I can't. No. Nothing painful. No, my way. Other than the occasional blue balls.
So what's this? Oh, here's one. So I was having sex for the first time in a while. It was one of those bed frames that doubles as a bookcase, so you have a ton of shit piled on it. So I kept a vase with roses on it. I bought the roses for the flowers in my bedroom as sort of part of a self-care routine. Like, you're special. Anyways, this guy came over, and we were having pretty vigorous sex in the missionary position. I felt so blissed out and happy. I was finally getting laid by someone I liked a lot. All of a sudden, everything goes black for a minute. And when I come to, there's water everywhere, and my head is pounding. It's bleeding, too. The flower vase fell off and smashed her in the face.
Smashed her in the fucking face? Wow.
I felt really woozy and kept forgetting things. My head was bleeding, so we went to the ER for sure. I did have a concussion, but it was worth it to get laid, though my partner impressed with how well I handled the situation. Yeah, but I took that vase to the head pretty good.
She's a keeper, bro.
So when I punch you later on,
yeah,
I know you could take it.
She likes to get roughed up in bed. Smash a vase over my head, will you? Are you serious?
Oh, the one. Okay, so this couple wanted to get into doing bonding. So they didn't want to just jump right into it, so they figured they'd practice up a little bit. So he figured he tied her hands up and then tied her hands to a pole in the middle of this apartment in New York. In the corner.
Forgot about her.
You remember the poles that used to be in the cells?
Steam pipe?
That's what it was. She had like 3rd-degree burns on her arm. He said, she was tied up. I was going down there. All was going well. And she was moaning. All of a sudden, the moans turned to screams. I remember thinking, well, I'm not that good. I would never think that I'm not that good. So she ended up, the hot water had been turned on, and her hands and legs her hands and arms were burned.
Thermostat called for heat.
Ugh.
Burnt the crack of how ass.
They said she still has scars today. There's the hot wing story.
Huh.
Oh. This is a doctor telling this story. While I was a surgical resident, I encountered some unique objects lodged in the rectum. In medical speak, rectal foreign bodies. Now a plastic surgeon in New York. One case, we had to remove We had to surgically remove a pink softball from someone's rectum, and in another case, a significantly sized potato. I'm not,
potato.
I don't know if I want to know what kind of party that was. There's also another one on here that
yeah, there's 2 potatoes left in the bag. Guess I can have one for breakfast.
And the other one for my ass. So the other one on here was someone put a Glade spray in their ass backwards. So when the top, which is smaller than the bottom, got up, it just like suctioned in. They couldn't get it out. It had to be surgically removed. Think about that. That trigger was depressed, and now you got Glade air freshener in your ass. At least when you fart, it's going to smell nice.
Right? Yeah. Did you remember that joke where the guy was in the oh, fuck this up. He's like there's a pine tree or something, or those pine needle air fresheners, and never mind. It's not even worth telling. I'm gonna fuck it up.
So you were in the elevator and you rubbed the pine air freshener all over yourself.
No, it was
something your company
like
was stolen from you by
at least some drunk guy. And this guy was trying to cover up the smell of his farts, and he had a bunch of like pine air fresheners and shit. And the drunk guy's like, "Come out, like, come and get a pine tree."
Here's a Dr. Hartman tells another tale. He reveals a college freshman came to the ER with a severely swollen penis.
Broken, bro.
It was very, very swollen, angry looking penis.
Angry looking. If you've ever had a broken penis, I want to hear your story. You should, we'll get a hold of us and, we'll have you on the podcast. I want to know, like, the intensity of the pain. And does your dick still look like a banana, or did you get it? But apparently they said that's the only way to fix it is to have surgery. Yeah. And then your dick's going to be smaller. Could you imagine if they fucked up and, like, your dick was like a micro penis? Like, what did you fucking do? I'd rather have a banana, asshole. At least there was something there.
So this guy had a couple of abrasions.
Now it looks like a thumb.
On his penile shaft. After a lot of questioning, the patient confessed he was having oral sex with another freshman who was wearing braces.
God damn, a little less teeth, honey.
The braces had cut open the penis, and whatever food and germs and bacteria were trapped in the braces went into the wounds. He recovered with antibiotics.
Fucking scars on his dick. Like, did you mistake your dick for a knife? In a knife fight? Did your dick get into a knife fight with somebody?
Here's a PSA if you ever use cock rings. Don't use the metal ones.
Don't use the metal ones. Or else you're going to have some big burly firefighter snapping them off your balls.
This is a doctor. Penile rings are a real problem. There should be a public service announcement. Don't use anything that doesn't have hinges or is made of rubber. Or it's not coming off. So
rubber?
I guess this.
Could you imagine that going in there with like you wrapped a bunch of rubber bands around your dick and it's all purple and swollen?
No.
Like, Doc, you gotta help me out, man.
So apparently this guy put a metal cock ring on and it was stuck. So
oh, yeah.
They had to send somebody from the ER to Home Depot to buy a grinder wheel. And they had to make the guy sign a consent form saying that while we're removing this, we may accidentally cut your penis off.
Like a big, like, fucking DeWalt? Yeah. Handheld? Why wouldn't you just use, like, a Dremel?
I don't know.
At least that's gonna, like, just...
So we actually had to have him sign a paper that we may cut his penis off. The guy was fine.
Ugh.
But I'm not sure everything was functional afterwards. Sparks were flying everywhere. We were worried that the curtains were going to catch on fire.
Oh, my God.
Well, you know how it is when you run a grinder. Or cut yourself with a grinder.
Yeah, 3 fingers, man. And I almost lost this finger. It still ain't right. I can't feel it. That was like 3 years ago.
Oh, here's the one I was talking about earlier. 2 people had piercings on their genitals, and they became interlocked. They had to call EMTs and an ambulance to unlock them.
Could you imagine that? Oh, like where do you even like? Why me? Fucking Sunday, man. I should be watching football. And I gotta fucking unlace you 2 fucks.
Butternut squash. One of my friends works in ER. He said that girls come in every once in a while with different things stuck in their vagina, such as dildos, cucumbers, or one time a whole butternut squash.
Those things are huge.
Well, she was ambitious.
Wow. I mean, there can be like...
He said it was about a foot long and 12 centimeters in diameter and weighed 2.5 pounds. Apparently, you stick something up in there and it creates a vacuum-like effect, which just sucks it all the way in. They had to break it apart inside her and vacuum it out.
So, there you go, folks. Make sure you have a bleeder hole in there.
Johnny, get the Oric.
We're going to need something stronger, Michael.
There's another one where...
We're going to need a Dyson.
The doctor said someone came with a shampoo bottle stuck in their ass. And then the penile fracture. Penile fracture is a real thing. Usually occurs during girl on top or doggy style. The penis slips out of the vagina and forcefully strikes the pubic bone of the partner.
That's how accidental anal happens, too.
Yes, it is.
See, isn't that the sound like it makes when your text goes through on an iPhone?
Had the same sound as accidental anal. Though it's referred to as a fracture, it's more of a rupture of the tunic surrounding the erectile bodies.
The tunic.
It's a surgical emergency, and failure to investigate and repair the defect may result in lifelong erectile dysfunction or missing.
For you dick looking like a fucking hockey stick.
Despite the urgency.
Hey, it's hockey stick Dick Mike.
Just call me Hat Trick.
Oh.
Hey, hockey's back.
I know.
I love it.
The Flyers win last night?
Yeah.
They beat the Penguins.
I like both teams. I'm a Penguins fan, but I also love the Flyers. So those are my favorite games because as the season, now they're going to play each other 8 times this season.
I haven't watched hockey ever.
So the games by the end of the season are going to be really chippy. It's going to get nasty. Everybody in that division will play 8 times.
I wish I knew more about the rules of hockey. You know, I find it hard to keep your eye on that goddamn puck.
Oh no, I love it. I love it.
Wasn't hockey originally a Scottish sport? Of course, I think all sports go back to the fucking drunken Scots. Like golf. I remember the Robin Williams stand up when he's talking about how they invented golf, and he's like, "We got this little ball, and we're gonna hit it all the way over there." He's doing like a Scottish accent. He's like, "We got this fucked up little stick we hit it with," and he's like, "Well, what?" He's like, "Is it just an open field?" He's like, "Fuck no, it was shitting away." It was shitting away. Gotta listen to this classic.
I was more of Sam Kinison and George Carlin.
The first stand-up I ever watched was Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, the fucking horror!
Oh my god! I found a tape in my dad's thing, and I watched it like 4 times before he got home. Actually, I didn't know. I probably like within the span of like a week, I watched it 4 times before he found out about it. And I just remember like Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider, sat down beside her, said, "Hey, bitch, what's in the bowl?" And I'm like, I'm dying. I don't even know what this fuck.
It's
I'm
like
like,
Jack and Jill went up the hill,
well,
both with a buck and a quarter. Jill came down with $2.50. The fucking whore. And me and my buddy Louie, we must have watched George Carlin and Sam Kinison and Eddie Murphy Raw like 55 times.
Yeah. I love hearing that. Like, their stories are probably like akin to like your guys' wrestling. Like, just growing up in that atmosphere, there's like way more to it than it's like living the lifestyle and, you know, guys are spending the nights. They said that fucking, oh, what's his name? Richard Pryor. They said he was standing at the, what the hell was that? The comedy club? I forget. Might have been that might have been the name of it. And he would do his sets to like there was nobody in the crowd. He would do it like a couple nights before, so he's just practicing on stage. And I guess Pauly Shore's mother owned the place, so he said he was a kid and he worked in the kitchen. He would just sit there watching Richard Pryor do his fucking set.
Laugh Factory or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Like, he talk about it a lot on Joe Rogan. He's involved with all that shit. But
yeah.
They got a lot of stories of like the old days, and they had Andrew Dice Clay on there talking about. And that guy's brilliant, man. He's got a lot of like specific ideas of how he wants shit to like roll and like production wise and like making videos. So there's a lot to it. People like think, oh, I can just sit up there and tell jokes. A lot of us
well,
like
Andrew Dice Clay is no Nick Cage.
Never be.
You know, it's funny. I was down in West Virginia for 4 days last weekend, and sitting there with my buddy. And one of the things, we always watch a lot of movies. So we're tooling around Netflix, and there's something on there that we should make a topic on this show. It's the history of curse words.
Yeah.
But Nick Cage was the host of it, and
I couldn't get over his veneers.
Fucking horrible, dude. He was just he was trying to be like the guy from back in the 60s that sat there and reviewed books or something. And he was
I think you just hate him. You got a bias against him.
He was just horrible.
Like, I don't.
I enjoyed the show, but he was horrible.
I only watched the first episode of that. And who's that one comedian? That one chick, the blonde hair. Oh, she's fucking. And you ever see those roasts with God, why am I so shitty with fucking names? I wish I was
Chelsea
better.
Handler
with Jeff Ross. No, it wasn't her. It was her name. But you ever see like the roast of? They did a roast of Donald Trump.
Don't watch them.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch them.
Yeah, you were telling me about that one.
They're hilarious.
I don't watch roasts. I never did.
They've only done probably 10 of them.
The roast?
Yeah.
No, they've done more than that. I saw the roast of.
There's not a ton of them.
They did a roast of Ronald Reagan.
Did they?
Yeah.
And
Bob Hope was like one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now it's like fucking raunchy. They don't like let anything.
They were pretty
for the time, but this is much. I'm not saying they weren't good, but like what was the one they fucking
like every year they do a Friars Club roast.
Yeah, they hammered fucking Paul. The guy that died in a car accident, Paul Walker, and I guess Ludacris was one of his good friends, and fucking Jeff Ross was he's like, move, bitch, get out the way. He's like, that's what Paul Walker should have done.
Oh.
And fucking Ludacris, like, he got pissed, and you could see, like, he was just like, bro, he's like, dude, I was like my best friend, man. And I was like, God, dude, it was like bad. And
yo, motherfucker, what did you say?
So they had, when they were doing Donald Trump, the guy Seth MacFarlane was the roast the host.
The roast host?
The roast host. And he's like, and now for the second worst tragedy to hit New York City, Donald Trump. Like, and everybody in the crowd was just like, oh. He's like, what? Too soon? Too soon? So yeah, I don't know.
I think that's
if you have a
for hospital stories.
If you got a hospital story, let me know. I'd like to
all fucking cock ring off your dick.
With my teeth.
We won't go get a...
No need for a grinder here. Just some lube in my mouth.
And with that, we thank you for stopping by. And go take on the world.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.